Perfect. All right. Welcome in, everyone. Appreciate your presence. Appreciate your beauty. Just coming in celebration and welcoming of all that has been awakening and embodying and within us and without us through all the different elements and earth and all the cosmic relations that are deepening in this moment. And I was just gonna do a live or just a video, right? I was thinking maybe I'll just go live and then record it and send it out. But it was just, there was so much that was coming through. And shows up, and then we can do more through the replay. Oh wow, we have 2 Vancouver BCs here. Beautiful, thank you. All right, in Montana. So we'll kind of continue the same structure. We're going to be here for about an hour and a half. The opening meditation I'll share. We'll do a short meditation today. Today was more of like let's do some information, some grounding, just a short meditation, and then we'll see where we're at for shares at the end. So yeah. I'm just gonna make sure everyone's muted here. Okay. All right. So let's begin with our grounding meditation. Let's take a deep breath in. On this beautiful Sunday, beautiful day of hopefully rest for a lot of us, and just coming into the centered space of your body, welcoming all of your awareness here from any place that it's been, welcoming your attention, your energy. And so let's call in our energy bodies closer to our body, and that anywhere that we're plugged into elsewhere, we can release any and all cords, any and all energetic attachments, and just allowing our energy to be full and whole here, welcoming a nice white light around the outer edges of your energy body to soften your body, soften your field, welcoming in the purity of your higher self and any and all guides, and the highest expression of yourself now, grounding in through the earth grid, through the body, just welcoming that centered presence, breathing through the body and grounding through into the pure crystalline core of earth. Yeah, into the center of the sun of earth. Just knowing this inner realm that exists within us, with the earth. And breathing up through that center. Breath in the heart area. And up through the center of the head, into the sun, to the central sun and source, just aligning all of our awarenesses and connections into this moment. Breathing down into the body, into the heart, opening the heart to yourself, your body, your presence, and all that's here for you today. And letting the mind quiet. So just any thoughts, any anticipations, just grounding down through the center of the body. Oh, yeah. Knowing that the center of the earth receives this in its purest and highest alignment, so that we continue to ground into our purest and highest alignment. And then allowing this heart to open to all of the other pure hearts and higher consciousnesses that are here in the body. souls here in unity in our connection. Welcoming in all of us that are here, all of us that will be joining the replay so that we may unite in the strength and purity of ourselves, supporting us individually, collectively, and all beings of Earth and beyond. Taking a deep breath in, feeling again your own body. Centering in, grounding into this space. Good. I'm seeing a nice soft blue light surrounding all of us to soften, open our fields for what's here for us individually. Good. Thank you. So I'm going to begin information sharing here, so you can just stay with your eyes closed or open your eyes if you wish. But remembering throughout just to breathe through the center of the body to allow the mind to stay quiet and the body and your field to be in a state of receiving. Yeah, beautiful. So we've been through some pretty potent experiences over the past couple of weeks. I mean, this whole year has been, but this through the lunar eclipse, we are really working with a lot of the new earth energetic codes coming in, right? And the purification process of what that opens up for us. And then also what is opening and what's opening up in our fields to allow more capacity of our souls through into this body. And right now we're in a quiet phase, just like it was the sun showed me during the lunar eclipse meditation that we did, that we were going to have a break, right? We were going to have a little softening, no more solar flares for a little while as this integration, so this integration could take place. So we weren't going to be receiving blasts of new codes. And so now we're in that space after we went through that purification to really feel those codes, to really feel ourselves, to really feel this pure energy that came through all of that. That's now embodying and showing itself to us consciously, right? So that we're consciously connecting in with what's landing for us, right? What's showing itself to us through us, and in reflection around us through what we're experiencing in our outer world. And so this is the part of the process through where we get to have a moment of rest. We get to have a moment of feeling this and celebrating this next phase of the unification that we're actually, physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically experiencing before this next wave comes. And this next wave that's coming is definitely bringing a lot more illumination. It's going to take us even deeper. So what we get to do through what just took place through this eclipse portal is to recognize those places in us that are waking up. Recognize those places that are coming alive and opening this capacity to go into that deeper self-reflection, deeper surrender, the deeper wisdom of ourselves, so that as we continue to move through these waves this year, we can take that with us. So when those deeper layers continue to start to surface, we can remember this place of embrace. We can remember this place of surrender. We can say, yes, okay, wow. Remember that beauty that we felt through this moment now of this more ease in our bodies and this opening up to this beautiful energy, right? This space of more love, this space of more willingness to be with ourselves, right? In this connection, in this deeper connection of more relaxation and calm, right? So this is what's deepening within us, so that as this next illumination comes forward in the next few weeks, we can be like, I'm just going to keep breathing into that place that I was able to, that came forward through me. just keep walking, to keep stepping, to keep being, keep stillness, or whatever it is that supports you in moving through these, and remembering those places where you did pivot, right? Where some deep purification processes came through when maybe you're what was it that I used to support that may continue to support me now, right? So that we remember this as the deepening of our foundation, right? Because what has been taking place is that deeper sense of who we are, outside of the identity of our name, outside the identity of the lives that we've had, or what took place in this life for us that has shaped our life, that is purifying now, right? So we're shifting these timelines quickly, and so relationships might be changing right now. There might be experiences where your jobs are shifting, or your experience is going, I need to be doing something different, or I need to be adjusting my structure, adjusting how I'm living my life so that I can be more in alignment with this energy right now. So just noticing that, because this rapid shift is a structural foundational shift on this planet, as we know, and our own bodies. And I'll get into what's actually physically happening in our bodies in a little bit, and going more deeper into the details of this general, what I'm speaking now. So as we're seeing right now, after this eclipse, we're feeling this energy, and we're watching the restructuring take place, this new structure coming in, which is really just the origin codes, which is the purity of ourself, right? The purity of the planet, the purity. And so we're watching it with the weather, right? Like, what's happening? It's snowing some places. It's like crazy temperatures, heat waves. We just went through a heat wave, and then we had this crazy storm come through yesterday where it's like the tornado horn was blowing off for like half an hour, outside watching the lightning and the clouds doing things, going, where's it gonna touch down, watching like literally over my house, just these clouds swirling together and just like, things starting to form. And it was just really powerful to stand in it and be like, this is the transformation. This is, the earth and the patterns of the earth, the magnetism, the atmosphere, the energy of our planet. I just got a little noise. Coming into a new way of being. And sometimes it's stormy, and sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot, through our own physical bodies, right? We feel the integration in this next wave of illumination. We're going to be seeing, new planets, which we're already seeing. Some people are already tracking that, right? The new planets that are starting to show themselves, and they're actually not new. We just never were taught them or shown them, but they're there. Our galaxy, our solar system, is much bigger and more broad than we've been shown. All the structures that have kept us limited, right? That had kept us in a space of being small and not in our full power, is what's shifting, as we know. And so we're embodying this place of being in. Years I've been guided to work with all of you to shift what our identities are, like what our foundation is, so that as we really step into more of that foundation of source, more of that foundation of our soul, more of the foundation of that we don't have to identify with all of these ideas of ourselves, with all of these programs of ourselves and the world, right? So that we clarify more and more and more. And even new elements are going to show themselves, like even with the crystals, like they're finding new crystals, they're finding new elements. And we're just going to be working with those through the rays of creation, which are the dimensional functions of our reality, that each of us have come through a specific channel to be a function of the dimensional experience of our omniverse, to bring forward a specific aspect of this unity, right? And so when we're working with these origin codes, we're working with the essence of source itself, where there was no individuation, where we get to go into the fullness of being being whole, while we are individually understanding who we are in this life, in this body, and who we came to be as this expression of source through our soul. Right? So just allowing more of that sense of self through soul, that can shift that paradigm of identifying as our name, or identifying as our heritage, our culture, or identifying as, these ideas and beliefs and programs, so that we're just continually just surrendering it all. It says, okay, who am I really? I'm not that, and we can keep doing that every day, every moment, right? And still, while we're still honoring, right, our ancestors, and we're still in honor and celebration of all that has come before, that is cultivating this wisdom and this capacity within us to be able to do this, right? Because, right now, what we're really working through is trauma, and that trauma of separation from source itself. That's where it begins, right? It's like, whoa, some of us have that trauma coming from source, and some of us don't. It just depends, right, of what it is. And the trauma itself is really just that space of acknowledging the unity, acknowledging that we have this body, we have this soul, we have this unique expression for a reason, right? And when we can really just go into that space and really say yes to it, right? And go into that deeper sense of acceptance of this path, this journey of being in this time, being in this experience now, where it seems like everything's becoming so chaotic, of just really standing in this space. Okay, I'm here. I, just in the pure sense of source identity, right? And letting stream through that whatever's necessary in the moment for you, what's aligned in the moment. And that's where that deep listening of self, of allowing yourself to have what your body is feeling it needs, or your mind, and through the lens of the soul, right? So we can just deepen that lens, deepen that filter, so that as we're shifting into that space, we can go, that need or want is coming from that identity, or that old program, right? That's not necessary. And so what I was noticing too over the past week was there was a lot of interference coming in. And interference, is just this play of energy, where when we have identified so deeply with a program, with an idea, with a belief, and it's imbalanced, we create our shadow side, right? We do our shadow work, or our inner work, where we're identifying these places of imbalance. And we have fed an energy body, right? We have fed an energy a lot of power to maintain a certain identity, or maintain a certain belief. And what I was noticing is we were purifying these experiences, and more of our creative power, which I'll get into a little bit later, was coming alive, and purifying these places. The shadow self that we fed so long was like, hey, I don't want to leave yet, I'm not. And so it was like kind of creating these intensities in the body and in relationships, right? And just like kind of holding on. And some people were feeling it as clenching in the body, maybe behind the heart, or in the spine, or in the hips, in these areas that we can hold stress, or in the neck. And then there was other plays, like there are these beings out there in the world that hold these power structures in place, right? These identities in place. And we're like, no, thank you. And they're beings themselves that get fed through our emotions. They get fed through anger, fear, hatred, judgment. They get fed through this, and they feed off of it. And so they were also coming in and saying, all right, you want to play, let's play, and because we're not going to go that easily either. And so those were showing up. And so I was doing a lot of clearing of interference for the collective field, as well as my own personal field, because I was feeling it behind my heart. My son was feeling it. He was acting out throughout like the whole week into the end of the week. And it was like, wow, cool. You know, he's feeling like we're feeling this tremendous amount of energy moving through, right? And sometimes we can't put a finger on exactly what it is, right? But the most potent thing that we can do in those moments is remember our wholeness, remember our love. Because when we do that, that shadow self can just like dissipate, and those entities can't stay in that space, and then really they're just the emptiness of love, right? And so when we can fill that space with love, they don't have power over us and in our space and our field, right? So we just keep, okay, yep, that's showing up. I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm just going to tap into that place of wholeness within, and then what I notice is that it just shifts out the tension in the body, you know, of where we're holding any of our own stuff, and that it keeps wanting to stay, and it will shift that whole program. So just remember that in the coming weeks, you know, as things start to surface, go, okay, I'm going to be in this, I'm going to watch it, I'm going to feel it, and I'm going to remember that deep place of wholeness and love. So that as this purification process is happening, as these things are coming to the surface, I can be in both places at once. And that's that power of the center of ourselves, right? When we really enter into that center, into any interaction where we're seeing things play out, right? In whatever way it's playing out, while we're holding that space of consciousness. Right? Because then when we do that, it deepens the capacity for all of those things to shift really quickly, right? So it's that wholeness. It's the both and. The both and. So it's really not going, oh, I can't be in duality or I can't be in polarity. It's no, I am unified and I'm individual at the same time. I'm embodying duality. I'm embodying polarity. I'm embodying unity. I am embodying all of this so that all of my senses, all, you know, both hemispheres of my brain, all my energy bodies, all of my capacities of self are coming into the center, are balancing, are harmonizing, right? So that's the broad picture of what we're allowing and coming in. And also recognizing that we don't get caught up in the trap of, oh, we're there because we're feeling this really beautiful energy right now, right? Yes, we are here. We are here in this moment of the play, right? In this moment of the game where we are feeling more of that purity, right? We're feeling more of the purity. We're feeling more of the harmony. We're feeling more of our truth before we step into the next gateway, right? Before we step into the next gateway. And so the other piece that I was really noticing coming up was the sacral area really activated, the hips, the groin, as we're purifying, what we're doing is we're tapping into that deep essence of our power, of our creative capacity, of our creative energy. And so there was a lot being, everything that we're holding there, right, through the mother energy or through the earth energy, in our connection to our power in this specific body, in this specific time on this planet. There were so many of, as the new earth energetics are coming up into our field and coming into that creative power, and our souls coming down and meeting that creative power, it's like, what are we holding here? What energies are we holding here that have to do with mother or father or just being in a body, being on this planet, right? And so more of that was starting to open, more of that was starting to move. And so that sacral area is a really great place right now to breathe into, to move into, to open, to allow more of our connection to earth, and welcoming that pure earth energy and crystalline energy into our sacral area and source as well. And just noticing, any power struggles that have been showing up within the self or with others or in the past, right? Where we've identified ourselves as a being of power or not a being of power or a fear of being in power, right? And just knowing that power itself is just energy, is just really coming into our knowing of ourselves and letting that soul essence flow through us. That's power. It's not going, oh, I have to go out in the world and do something, or I have to be something. That sense of power is what we've been taught. The real power is just being in the flow of our soul, listening, paying attention. And as it arises in us with creativity or an expression or a way of being, that we're just right there with it and just letting it flow, allowing the space to have its expression, right? As it's coming up through our bodies. And so it's just opening those creative gateways within us as we're allowing more of soul to come in. And so it can be a really deep, tender place for a lot of us, especially when we've had these experiences in the past, as these timelines are clearing of, oh, when I was in my power, I was this horrible person and I did all this bad stuff, or I submitted and I let all this stuff happen to me, and really, I was in this space where the past few days, it was just, since we were all opening up so much in ourselves to be ourselves and let this purification happen over this past week. What I was noticing over the past, 72 hours is this really powerful connections with people or in our own selves. Like, I was just having great connections with people, impromptu healing exchanges out in public, just deep conversations. And, I thought I was going to have a more internal space this weekend while my son's with his grandmother. And it just became a very socially alive and an incredibly aligned way, that it was just like, wow, okay, nice. We're coming together. Those of us who are just right here, but we're also still needing some support. We're there, right there for each other. And I happened to be doing an exchange with a really nice gentleman last night, and we were just having this great, exchange, and we were talking about that idea of this, oh, we're here, we made it, we made it to this point, but not the idea that we made it all the way yet, right? And that, this idea that we've been bad in the past or we've been wrong, and that place of that program of judgment. He was like, yeah, we were just the spiritual badasses that we were allowing ourselves to have those experiences so we could see and feel and experience the depth of all of that, right? So we can be and understand both sides, right? Both sides of unity, the dark, the light, the good, the bad, the duality of experience, right? And so if we've tracked timelines, you're like, whoa, I was a person that killed a bunch of people, or whatever it was, it's like, or blew up a planet. It's like, that's okay. In the whole scheme of all of creation, it's okay. We took on that role to do it. It's okay, right? So when we come through this field of earth, we get plugged into all these matrix ideas of guilt, shame, judgment, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, let's let that go. Let us be in our full power. Choosing and feeling what's aligned for us to experience right here and now, however it looks, right? Because we all think beauty, essence, purity, love, and that is the basis of reality. But love is not dual in and of itself, right? There's love and hate. We can look at love and hate as two sides of a coin. But when we use the word love, just because of that feeling we feel, or joy because of that feeling we feel. But if we leave it wordless, we don't put a label on it, it's just pure flow, right? Just pure experience, regardless of how it's being expressed, right? So that's this deep level of illumination that I feel we're going to be going through too, is a deeper experience of shifting out of all of these programs of guilt, shame, or judgment of self, and however we've shown up in any life, right? And allowing that harmony within in any experience. And that's what I was saying, like wherever we're at, whatever experience we have, we can feel that deep center of consciousness of this is happening. And I'm choosing this right now. You know, just like my son and I have a soul contract to battle sometimes, because for him, it's like, for both of us, how do we feel that? How do we shift it? How do we integrate it? How do we work with it? Right? So as he grows up, he can understand reality and how people behave and help regulate himself and help regulate others, to go into that deep sense of balance. He came in as Archangel Michael with the sword, right? So it's like, okay, how are we going to use our sword right now? And how do we come into harmony with how we're doing that? You can't know unless you experience the intensity of everything that we are. Experiences when they arise, right? So we have to, this is just the fullness, the wholeness of creation. And so, you know, as we're going through this deep shift of a cycle, because what's also surfacing is the Atlantean times, Lemurian times, all the creations, and even deeper than that, creations before that, when we're having all this, you know, experimentation on the human body, experimentation, you know, on plants and everything, and combining things that you're just like, oh, they should be combined. That's not a natural, a natural experience, you know. As we're kind of watching all that, and we're kind of going, do we want to create that cycle again? Do we want to create? Nah. And a lot of us are like, we're going to hold the field for this whole new experience so we can shift that whole historical cycle, right? And not do this again, ever, unless, you know, we choose to, which we may, you know, and that's okay. So, but right now it's like, whoa, that's why the purification is so deep. Because if we think of how many lifetimes, how many civilizations, how many embodiments of this on this planet, this cycle has taken form, and on other planets, because it was on other planets before it came here. So it's like, how many times? So being gentle with the self of like, it's okay that these things keep coming through, because it's so deep and there's so much of it, right? There's so much energy in those experiences, but it can be just that easy to say, okay, I'm here now. And this is what I'm moving toward. This is what I'm becoming. This is who I'm becoming, and this is what we're all becoming. And we just steadfast focus in that, and keep grounding that, right? Because so we're going to go into, you know, what I was speaking about earlier in these dimensional functions, which is really interesting to me, because as this acceleration started happening to me, and, you know, we were mapping out the dimensions and being taken to all these, like, you know, spaces to see, you know, how the function of the universe processes, you know, from source down and back up, and, you know, throughout, and understanding, I was shown them as dimensions in number, frequency, as well as function. You know, what is the functions of these? And that also pertains to what we call the rays of creation. You know, they all have a color and a frequency and a certain format that it flows through, in different ways that it flows through our bodies, and different experiences that we draw to us and have because of this function that we are. And so as we're identifying that more and more within ourselves, so just notice, like, what colors show up the most for you? What sensations, what feelings show up the most for you in your higher state of resonance with yourself, right? And letting those start to speak to you, in what that means for you, who you are. You know, how does that want to express into the world? Or just with yourself, or in your creative projects, right? Whatever it is that you do in your life, or be in your life, right? What is that? And allowing that to keep feeding you, keep showing you, keep allowing, or what animals, what plants, you know, what creatures, what planets, or what beings, you know, show up for you, so that you can continue to say, okay, I'm listening. And they may shift over time, and that's okay. But right now, just be in it. Let those things really listen. And that's when we're in our alignment, right? When we're really paying attention to what's right here, right now. When we go into that deep state of listening, and we say, I'm here, I'm receiving, I'm willing to receive more, you know, and letting that more come in over time. right? That doesn't have to come all in at once. You're just allowing that space, because what it does is it then tells the body, I'm ready to receive more. And what I'm noticing, and I saw this some months ago in people, but I wanted to track it for a while before before I could really share it as a recognition of a more collective experience. But what I've been noticing in people that are really taking their new templates and geometries on, and these functions into their mind, into their hearts, into their bodies, and it's really embodying and shifting the physical structure of the body more and more, our cells are enlarging. And that means more fluid. The body wants to become more fluid and light, but sometimes it can bring on a space of feeling dense. Sometimes it can bring on a feeling of needing more water, or needing more food or less food. It depends. Each body is different, but overall, I'm seeing the cells become bigger, hold more fluid, as it allows the DNA to rebond and structure itself. Just like as we've been understanding in epigenetics, there's those switches, like as we start to train our mind to what we really, want or need as a soul and a body, the switches get flicked. Oh, okay, because it's not just genetics that drive us, it's our thoughts, it's our emotions, right? It's all of this. And so the more that we are willing and we keep affirming to ourselves, to our bodies, of our, being our soul, being this, it's flipping those switches, right, in our DNA codes, as well as receiving those, as we receive these sun flares through the codes of creation, to allow those switches to be flipped as we consciously connect with each of these spaces within ourselves, of the dynamics of our being, the dynamics of our soul. And so as that's happening, the cells will enlarge. And then what happens, what does that happen? It increases more space for more DNA in the nucleus. It increases more space for the light to fill our bodies, because we have a lot of space in our body, but there's a lot of space in reality. Like, look around you, there's so much space in between you and the, the arm of the chair or the wall or the curtain. There's just a lot of space, right? And, in physics, they call it, dark energy, right? Because it's dark space where there's nothing filling it. But right now, since we have this space, and so as each particle of our DNA, I'm seeing that my internet connection is saying it's unstable up once in a while here, so sorry if my voice is breaking up. But as we're coming more into these recognitions, and this light is, and their cells are enlarging, and there's more DNA activating and recoding itself, coming into the codes of our individual expressions as soul. And this light that really is the spark of life within the DNA and in our cells, that makes up the receiving, right, the vibration of source into our bodies to create this. The more we consciously connect with that, the more we consciously can shift our bodies, right? And we know this. Some of us may know this already from past people who are really bringing this out. How are we visualizing with ourselves? How are we visualizing our body to be? How are we visualizing our life to be? How are we really seeing, not with just our physical eyes, but our inner eyes and our heart, right? Magnifying what it is that we really are creating, right? And so as we're doing that, our cells are responding. And so as we go into this, the cells will enlarge and then start to take on the geometry. The blood will start to take on the geometry, the plasma, the lymph, and then it'll start to shift even the way our bodies look and feel, right? So that's why when I say our bodies are shifting, the physicality is shifting, these are some of the deeper processes that are happening as we crystallize. And then as we become these geometries physically, we then on this planet, which is just fine. We're just really in the beginning processes of the stages of our evolution as a light body, right? We become, even that the cell walls will start to break down and each cell will merge, just keep becoming one cell, right? So where we're basically a unicellular body, and then eventually no cell, like we don't even have DNA. We're just pure crystalline light. And so we're in the beginning stages of that, and each one of us is in a different part of that phase, right? And that's okay. We're going to be experiencing it in our own way, in our own time. And we just start to notice, like, even deeper, tuning into the body. Okay, body, what do you need? Do you need more rest? Do you need more movement? Do you need more food, less food? What food, because, and just shifting these processes of how we feel about these things, even because sometimes food can be a big deal for people, right? What programs have we that, right? And the lighter I go, the better I feel. Like the past few days, I'm eating maybe one small meal a day, a lot of liquid, right? Maybe, right? Because it just wants to keep getting lighter and lighter. And then I know eventually, most of the time in my phases, I go through a period of like, ooh, I'm eating a lot because I went through that phase of not eating, right? And so just being okay with those cycles, not judging, oh, I'm eating too much, or I'm eating too little, or I don't know what's going on. Just going, this is how I feel. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm right here, right now, because my body's needing this. But one thing I do notice across the board is just going, let's get more fluid. Let's get more water, whether it's taking the water in or being near water. And I know a lot of you in the creek for 2 hours on Friday with a friend, just connecting, in the forest. And then, went to the lake yesterday. I was just sitting here and I was like, the lake was calling. I was like, okay, I gotta go into the water, right? Gotta be in that element. And that element is that fluidity, that flow, that state of presence, that state of the subconscious where everything exists, right? And the more that we get in touch with the subconscious, the more that we unify with the conscious, to more bring in the super conscious, right? So we're not running these things, these ideas and programs, right? And so just watching even the glands of the brain, watching even parts of our brain, like I've been watching even the amygdala, where our emotions and our fear and all of that resides, our reptilian brain, right? Shifting. And even in myself, and even in some people, watching it shrink, right? Our brains are shifting. Our corpus callosum, I was working with this with another person because they brought it to me and said, I'm feeling this in my head. And so we were just processing as friends, just talking about it and processing it. And we're like, wow, what we're coming more into is the gamma reality, right? The gamma ray, right? So that we're just these direct beacons of source, and our brains are starting to function as that. And that's why they brought in the 5G too, right? Because the 5G is that direct line. It's not just this field of energy where there's information floating in the field. The 5G is a direct line of energy to your phone or to your body or to a place. It's kind of a laser, and that's what the gamma ray is. But what we're doing, and they brought that 5G in, of course, whatever you believe, it's okay, but about that, but it's that direct line to connect into their reality. And we're like, we're going to go into that direct gamma line, microwave line of source, right? So let's just keep moving there and moving into that space, right? And so as we're drawing our power from all of that, that's where that interference comes in too, right? Because it's like, oh, you're not drawing your power from us. Nope. So just see how that shows up. Just see how that shows up. Who comes into your field? Who wants to say hi to you? And you're like, whoa, like, where did you come from? That's not the interaction I want to have, right? Or, maybe more, like I said, more people of alignment are coming into your field because you're staying in that direct line of connection to self, right? Yeah, you're welcome, Sharmini. Appreciate you. So, and so what's happening right now too is I've been watching this in my field as the holographic field is becoming much brighter, more synergistic, right? Like in my meditations, I'm actually working with the holographic field of creation. Like, ooh, we're going to move this piece over here. We're going to move this. Oh, there's that piece, you know, and it's just becoming more apparent. Some of you may experience that. Some of you may not. It's okay. But I know that as we're moving into this, that's what's showing up, right? And some of us may work with these higher you know, I don't want to say that. I don't like really saying higher levels, because that's not really what it is. It's just part of creation, right? A part of creation, these technologies and these skills and these abilities, you know, may be showing up for you, or they may not, and that's okay too. But I'm noticing that even if you're not having that conscious awareness connection to it, it's coming around our bodies and it's coming around our fields to strengthen us. So just recognizing that as well. And so we are this. So in the mystical teachings, of the old mystery schools that still have their purity, and still we can still work with those structures as they're shifting, right? So this idea of working with the sun, working with the codes that come through the sun, because the sun's a messenger, right? Each sun of each galaxy or solar system is a direct messenger from source, right? So when we were doing this work, you know, we were asking, like, what's the sun? What happens during the sun flares and stuff? And as I've mentioned before, it's those codes. It's the direct codes from creation, source creation, to us. And those flares are delivering the codes, right, more powerfully into the field than just the stream of light that we receive from the sun every day. And so in the mystical teachings, you know, when we look at ourselves on Earth, we're here, and either we become conscious of ourselves on Earth or we don't. Start to go into that reflective quality of ourselves, and that's the moon, right? Then we start working with that reflective quality, just how the moon reflects the sun's light. We're receiving the codes in a different way, right? And we start to self-reflect more deeply. And as we get into a more capacity to self-reflect, and we reach a more inner state of consciousness and awareness of this self that's beyond the identity, beyond the personality, we shift into the deep space of connecting in with the direct source of the sun, right? The source that's coming through the sun. And that's what this whole shift was through that solar eclipse and lunar eclipse too, is going, okay, we're going to be more aligned with the sun. And so over the years, as I've been working with the inner sun beings of the inner sanctums of the sun, as we're working with the codes that are coming through to support the collective of Earth and the other planets in our solar system, we go into that state of consciousness of, okay, I'm going to go into more direct access to source, to my soul, right? And so that's what's happening right now, and that's that light of this body in our cells. And so those of you who have been following my meditation, sometimes in the meditation or in sessions with you, we've done that meditation where we visualize each cell of our body being a sun, right? And we expand that light through our bodies as one direct access of sun through source through sun, right? As us. And so that's what we're becoming, really becoming this star of light in body on Earth, just like the Earth is a body with its inner sun, with its interstellar crystalline qualities, right? So that's what we're becoming, and that's what's really landing right now, is this knowing of, like, I am direct consciousness of source, you know? So there's that relieving of, that can start to relieve the need to seek from outside, and at the same time be in the space of support from the outside when needed, right? And recognizing that all we're doing is sourcing another aspect of creation that's supporting us in our embodied aspect of creation, right? So we start, because I know that a lot of people go, oh, I don't want to seek outside of myself. I only want to be in the unification inside. And that's totally okay. Let's tap into that. Let's become whole. And on our journey of being whole, let's be okay with other people bringing us the information or the energy or the experience support our growth, that's going to support our evolution, right? And so that's being in the individuated unified field, right? This exchange, this consistent exchange of energy, because we're independent and interdependent at the same time. So really allowing that opening of self to that more and more and more, and sourcing from within and sourcing out. So we just went through a lot. It's a lot of information. So I just want to take a breath through the heart here. Just take a breath into the heart. Take a breath in and just let your body settle here. And just let the land here for you land more deeply within you. And if there's anything that's not needed, or you feel that's not needed, or may be stored later for another time to come into your conscious awareness, just letting that happen. Taking a deep breath in, letting your shoulders drop, just noticing if you're holding any tension in your body from anything that you received here. Breathing down your whole body through your feet into earth. Just allowing that experience to continue to soften and soften and deepen this presence, your awareness. So again, if your energy field has expanded with all of this, and maybe your mind's going, you should just calling again your energy field closer to your body. Letting a line, a beautiful pillar of light from above your head down through the center channel of your body, letting your mind relax all the way down into the center of earth. Letting yourself receive earth. Now breathing. Just feel your body, feeling your presence, breathing through your heart, connect your heart, welcoming in this direct access to yourself and source, to the sun, to the experience. Knowing that as we move forward through these next months, as we illuminate, we'll be moving through the sun to more of the direct access as soul, embodiment, more of this activating as we move through the direct access consciousness awareness as sun, into the pure template of soul, and then into the pure template of source. Through our journey, all is one, and one is all here. Just breathing into the body. And so I'm just going to move us into just a little short meditation as we just ground it in through all that came in, right? Just allowing ourselves, and I'm just hearing to bring in the quantum love sanctuary around the whole of our field, just this deeper sense of self in a powerful space, a temple that can surround each one of us. If you wish to, you can also direct it not to if you don't wish to be in it, and that's fine too. But just if you wish to, we'll just ask for each one of you to be held beautifully in your own quantum love field to support your higher self, your direct access, and the deeper essence of purity and harmony within your field of your own body, your own essence. And if you wish to right now, if you have or if you wish to breathe into this, just the essences and qualities of being that you are, that you know you've tapped into, that make up the purity and the essence and depth of yourself in this body of soul. Just welcoming in these qualities, welcoming in these essences of self. And as you're welcoming in these essences of qualities and self, if you wish to, yes, let's receive the color or any images or any sensations that allow the ray of creation, the dimensional function of source that you here are here to embody and share with the world in your own way, in your own beingness, in your own embodiment. And sharing with the world is just the embodiment of the frequency of yourself. However that plays out in your life, in your alignment, just feel and witness what comes through here. What surrounds you, what fills you up here. What I gotta say when I show you the band. Thank you. Welcoming in all that's opening up for you in this depth, in this alignment. And also just, we're going to call in any and all guides that want to support you. If there's anything that you're feeling that you need some support with right now in being and embodying and shifting in the alchemy of this experience. And the words I'm hearing coming through for anybody here that it resonates with is power, being in this pure essence of your power. And releasing any of the inner struggles that come through being in this flow of energy of your soul that we call power. That as our energy becomes stronger, things may arise in our minds or in our bodies or in our interactions with others where we maybe don't understand exactly what's happening, and we start to struggle with that energy. And that's okay, because sometimes in the moment we just don't know exactly what's happening in those places. And just embracing, we're going to bring in the frequency of love and compassion here that allows those spaces to be filled with love and compassion, surrounding any of these that you're bringing in on your own or any of this experience with power itself. We're also going to bring in the frequency of innocence. And that childlike curiosity that we can bring forward on this path, that we can open into on this path. Yes, so that you may deepen your self-connection, your intuition, to be in the flow of what's present for you and your own inner guidance in each moment. Yes, feeling the softening in your bodies and your fields. Yeah. Just breathing into the cells of the body with this energy and tuning into and welcoming the body to these new structures that are forming, or just the structures of your being, your source and soul. We say new because they're new to us in this conscious space now. They are who we've been, always at the core of our being in every moment of our existence. So just allowing, just tapping into these structures through the cells of the body and welcoming in to your consciousness and awareness the light within each cell as a sun, the brilliant light that fills each cell of the body. This direct access to source that we embody, that's always here, that we're becoming more aware of and more conscious. or in relationship, communication with. Good, thank you. And as you're breathing into this space, just feeling the expansion of this energy through the cells in your body, welcoming in the fluidity of your being, welcoming in this openness and the flow of the fluid and the waters. Let's bring in the element of water here, flowing through the whole body. Around the body, being immersed in the waters of life. As this spark of fire of the sun within brings forth all that is ready to transform in the most gentle way, as our subconscious and messenger of the water flows through to bring all of this through the whole body, energy body. Breathing deep into the air, breathing, taking some deep breaths into the body, welcoming air into this light space of the body, this light-filled space of the body. As you feel your feet on the ground below you, the floor that's supported by the earth. And as we're feeling our bodies in earth, we breathe through around our energy body, the ether, and all the senses that are coming alive for us, through us, as our soul, our six senses and beyond. Breathing through the heart. Breathing through the heart here. Welcoming any elements or to support the physical structural consciousness embodies into the bones, into the organs and the tissue, and all that we are here in our physical space. All the energetics of our soul streaming through the cells of the body, forming our physical bodies. That you need to know for your body to be cared for in a new way, just the way that you want to work and relate and communicate with your physical body. Any deep listening and paying attention and aligning with your body. In your soul now, any ways that you want to communicate and listen and pay attention to your soul, self. Good, beautiful. In this space, just bringing in that essence and quality of celebration, joy of being right here, right now, in this beautiful being of ourselves, together in our bodies, in our minds, in our hearts, and our souls, all of us here celebrating this phase of being, this state of being that we get to relate with and know and become more and more. Yes, just smiling, breathing, opening, allowing the sense of being and knowing and self. And if there's anything that you wish to affirm to yourself or create an intention or a visualization with to support what's come through for you here today, we can all bring those in right now through our imagination, through our visualization, through our thoughts, through our hearts, through our sensations, our body. Just knowing that they're all being gathered up in a field of golden light of the sun to amplify through source, all the way through source and soul, to be received and reflected to you and embodied, that you come into alignment in thoughts, actions, beingness, more and more with all that is streaming through you and coming alive for you. That you harmonize and explore in the innocent, childlike curiosity of being. Beautiful. Just feeling into your body, breathing into your body, acknowledging your body, feeling this space. Just noticing if your body wants to move, needs to shift. I'm just feeling your body more and more here in this space. Okay. Breathing in here. Taking a deep breath, feeling your seat, feeling your body relaxing into your seat again. Coming into the awareness of the space, the environment around you, letting all that's coming around you to be in resonance with you. And you being in resonance with it. Just taking a deep breath in, grounding into your seat, into your space. And when you're ready, if you wish to, you can open your eyes. We'll just take a few minutes, come back into maybe 10, 15 minutes of sharing. I appreciate all of you that are here and being part of this. Thank you so much. So take a few moments here.